And as we were just saying, John, in terms of setup changes, they're not worried about putting in a fast time at this point. They will do one lap and come back in, make sure that everything is okay, that everything's running right, and then maybe send them back out. But you don't break in an engine in a qualifying session. That's an easy way to break an engine.
Well, you say that. They were looking pretty bullish.
Well, it's Damien.
Well, that's right. Very cool customer. Had a bit of fun on St. Patrick's Day, as you might imagine, and then got down to work here in the latter part of the week. But that engine problem rather hamstringing the team and Damien Faulkner.
If you're looking at the screens, you're seeing the 45 Flying Lizard car. That's Marco Holzer behind the wheel. Jim and I just had the fortune of doing an Audi event, and Marco was not present because his co-drivers, Robert Thorne and Colin Thompson, said he needed to get a little bit extra sleep so he could be a little quicker in this qualifying. We'll have to see if that pays off for him.
Well, he better deliver now, hadn't he?
Exactly.
Otherwise, the PR team are not going to be very happy with him. You're listening to IMSA Radio live from Sebring. This is the Tudor United Sports Car Championship, second round of the 2015 season, as we head into qualifying for GT, and everybody taking it very easy around this first lap. Track temperatures have been, frankly, absolutely nightmarish for tyre technicians, although the number 22 Porsche weaving around trying to make sure the tyres are nice and clean. Already 2.5 minutes of the 15 has gone, and we haven't got anyone with a lap time. It's a long lap around here, 3 3/4 miles, 3.74 if we are members of the Global Pedantic Association. Sorry, I'm told that is the Pedantry Global Association.
There you go. 6.019 kilometers for all of our international friends out there.
Everybody knows miles, thank you. we steadfastly holding on to our mileage.
The car on the screens now is the 22 WeatherTech Alex Job racing machine. It was fastest in the second practice yesterday afternoon, so they have a good handle. Alex Job Racing won 9 times before this event. They know how to get it done, and quite frankly, that's a car I'm watching to maybe just sneak in and take pole.
I wonder how the tactics will play out in these short sessions. We have seen over the years in all forms of endurance racing, these short sessions are incredibly hectic. We have a 2-driver qualifying format in the World Endurance Championship. Jeremy Shaw is down in the pit lane. Well, we've had some takers early doors, but 1 or 2 people just sitting back and enjoying the sunshine at the moment, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's quite nice down here in the pit lane, actually. It's got a bit of shade and waiting for the race cars to come around. Somebody just went past me on the pit lane, didn't see who it was because I was looking the other way. Yeah, getting ready for what should be an exciting qualifying session, I think.
Just developing what we were saying with Shea there earlier on, we've seen these short sessions before, Jeremy. There are people who try and play the tactical card and wait until everybody has done a first run and then try and slide out. That can backfire, can't it?
Yes, it can, because you want to make sure you get a qualifying lap in the books. Tell you what, I just caught a reprobate here wandering down the pit lane. Duncan Dayton. Duncan, haven't seen you for a long time. Highcroft Racing, of course, you had a lot of success in sports car racing. What do you do with yourself nowadays? What brings you here?
Well, I'm managing Dion Van Moltke, who is racing with Paul Miller Racing, so I'm here to watch him and say hello to some old friends, and in the meantime, I'm sitting on a boat in the Keys.
Smart man. So you're still racing yourself, though, in historics, at least to some degree?
Yeah, absolutely. Still got a bunch of old cars that I get to run around in, and we're going to be at Coda and Lime Rock and the Walter Mitty and Monterey and a few other places. So we still get in there every once in a while.
It's always great to see old friends, John, isn't it, huh?
Oh, absolutely, and hopefully Duncan will be down at the Monaco Historics, which is next year. Now it's on the even years biannual event. Had the very great pleasure of doing the TV commentary from there last year, and that's an event I absolutely want to do again. Let's look at some times. 2:04.098 for Mario Farnbacher in the 23 GTD car. These are the GTD cars that are out at the moment. The 33 of Jerome Blake and Molan, the Riley The Riley Viper in second position with a 4.6 and a 5.874 for Damien Faulkner running in the new engine in the 81 car. That is pretty impressive. A 2:04.258, by the way, used to be the lap record. It now stands with Mario Farnbacher, although it may well go even lower than that, even in the heat. Such is the pace of development over a calendar year from the race here at Sebring last year. Greg has joined us. Greg Kramer has joined us back in the booth after his sterling work on the podium. Some happy smiling faces I'm sure you were talking to there. Down to business for the IMSA Tudor United Sports Car Championship now. This is where it starts to get really serious. There's been plenty of practice beforehand, but now we've really got to find out what people have got.
Boy, and I'll tell you, we just saw a couple of things. Jerome Bleekemolen snuck through, turned to 2:04.092, breaking the track record for a second. Then Mario Farnbacher, the number 23, shot through a 2-minute 3.617 second lap. That is almost half a second clear of no less a driver than Jerome Bleekemolen and that big V10 Viper. Tell you what, you were right, Shay. That AJR team has this car humming.
And that is a team who needs something to be so proud about. The 23 guys had an awful Daytona. They just had terrible luck, had an engine that gave up on them with 8 hours into the race. They needed something to change. So what did they do? Well, all three of their drivers and one of their engineers did not shave between Daytona and Sebring and said, all right, we're going to get rid of this bad luck by growing out a beard. And P1 right now, that's working a little bit.
The rally beard, that's fun.
Yeah, well, you know, since I came back from Australia, I haven't either.
They were styling after you, John. But they don't have as much hair there as you do on your face.
Yeah, all right.
Mario and Alex.
Well, he's very outback, clearly.
Well, yes, it was Australian inspired.
Right.
Stop digging the hole, Shay. When you're in a hole, just stop digging.
Well, 22 and 20 years old, they're not going to be able to grow so much of a beard.
Not as somebody like me in their late 30s, absolutely right.
Yes, exactly.
It's Farnbacher that leads then in the 23 car with that 2:03.6. Jerome Bleekemolen 2:04.0. Lee Keane in the 22. 2:04.3, 2:05.2. Andy Lally, Damien Faulkner, it's 2:05.3 last time around. Is still good enough for him to have 5th position in that car with an engine that's literally just been pulled off the plane about 4 hours ago, if that, at Orlando.
Watch for Bleekemolen here. Now, he had come through and lowered I don't know if he's going to be able to find virtually half a second. No, he was off it on that one.
He's lifted, though. He's lifted on that one. The front end of the Viper dives into turn number 1. Is he going to pick up another lap here? The 23 of Mario Farnbacher, 2:03.7 last time around.
That's 2 laps, good enough for pole by at least 3/10.
Let's go down to the pit lane, and Jeremy Shaw picking up the story of GB Autosports. He's got Mike Skeen with him.
Indeed I have, and he's got a big smile on his face at the moment, because finally we see the GB Autosport Tully's coffee car out on the racetrack, Mike. Sterling work by this team. The engine arrived how long ago?
Just before 3, so the guys have had about an hour, hour and a half to get it ready, and they have hustled big time. It's super impressive. Watching these guys in the paddock was very, very impressive. So, yeah, very proud of these guys. Tully's coffee car is going quick. Damien's got us in 5th place right now, so very happy.
That's incredible, isn't it? I mean, talk about literally out of the box.
Yeah, absolutely. Brand new Porsche Motorsports engine out of the crate, out of the pickup truck, an hour and a half ago.
Now, have you had any time in the car yourself so far this week?
Actually, no, I haven't been in at all. So tomorrow's warm-up will be a good recon for me, and then we'll go do 12 hours of racing.
Good for you, Mike.
Thanks.
That is a remarkable story, but we've said about the years ending in 5 here at Sebring often produce a real talking point, either controversy or the fairy tale. What a story that would be for GB Autosport, even to get to the end of the 12 hours. Some of the drivers not even been in the car to this point in the race week.
Seems just right, though, to have the coffee rocket in and working. And I'll tell you what, the best way that you could say thank you from a driver's perspective, obviously, to a crew, is to do what Damien went out and did and put in a lap like that right off the bat. And I'll tell you what, that crew just did absolutely phenomenal work, no question. Just absolutely wonderful. So, really kudos to that team as a whole and that crew in particular. Wow.
And Damo's done 2:05.3s off the bat there. Came in after an installation lap, as Shea predicted. But that is pretty impressive stuff, and still holds on to 6th position at the moment. So it's 23.33, 22.73 and 44, your top 5. Bryce Miller in the 48 Audi into 6th position as Damo gets punched down to 7th in the 81. Then Jan Halen in the 58. Jeremy Shaw down in the pit lane.
Yeah, sorry, I was just wandering along. I guess I've got the mic open. Do you want me to turn it off, the whole thing off, when I've not got anything to say?
Yeah, that would be all right, but I don't mind. I'll just keep
Also, just sort of pipe up when I have something.
Yeah, just pipe up. I'll keep listening. Don't worry. Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy Shaw down there.
A couple of things to note. Shea and I were just chatting off mic about Spencer Pompelli just withering down at the bottom of the vine there. Well, he sprouted, and he jumped up for a minute there to 4th. But look at the time last lap that Bleekemolen turned. He's not done, and he turned an awfully quick lap here. And still, he's 2/10 off of Farnbacher, but that's a lot better than the 4/10 he was not long ago.
The continuing malaise of the Aston Martin is still a story that we've been following all race. The 007, James Davison, at the wheel of that car qualifying at the moment. But Shea, that car has not had any kind of pace at all this week. Sits in 11th, fully 2 seconds away from Farnbacher's time, when we expect to see 2 seconds covering, pretty much the whole field out here.
Given the last 5 qualifying sessions that I've watched of this season, this series, Davison has been way down the charts in all of those, and then all of a sudden it's a last-second jump to pole. So I'm not quite believing it yet. When that checker flag falls and Davison crosses the line for the last time, then I might go ask some questions of TRG, but Daytona even, he was nowhere on the charts, and then it was a last lap move that put him on the pole, so not counting him out yet.
Boris Said is the strongest man in the field at the moment.
New pole, new record.
Yeah, we just keep saying that. 203, 485 now for Jerome Bleekemolen in the 33. Goes to the top of the timing screens, diametrically opposite. Boris Said in the 97 GTD car. He's now 4.6 seconds off the pole. When was the last time Boris Said was 4.6 seconds off any fastest time? There must be some problems down there. And also towards the back end of the field in 13th position in the 63, Anthony Lazzaro, 3 seconds and fully 9/10 away from the rest of the field. Now the top 12 are separated by just on 2 seconds, Greg, and then there's a big gap back to everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at that, James Davison. Shea, you spotted that right away. The 007 just went to 5th at a 2-minute 4.855, and that's getting him now there or thereabouts. Still has some work to do to get up into that front row. But you were talking about Lazzaro, but also, Marco Ciocci, the 2 Scuderia Corsa Ferraris here have just been struggling. I mean, we saw Anthony Lazzaro in the wall. Earlier in one of the sessions. You don't see that. I think the cars just aren't quite working here the way that they would like.
What's the opposite of a red letter day? When you've had something good and you want to make a note of it in your diary, that was the absolute opposite of that. Write that down, because Lazzaro in the wall, I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw him put 4 wheels off the track, never mind hit anything.
Yeah, Black Friday.
Yeah, well, it certainly was for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 cars so far deciding to call it a session. The Flying Lizard, number 45, Marco Holzer behind the wheel, and the 49 that we were just talking about, Marco Ciocci behind the wheel. They both decided, nope, nothing better I can do, as 10 seconds remain in this qualifying session.
Save the rubber.
Yeah, and look at Spencer Pompelli now. He's turned to 2:04.1, jumps to 3rd in the Park Place, number 73. So a very solid run there. Checkered flag out.
James Davison, is he going to continue this phenomenal run of pole positions? 5th at the moment, needs to find, well,
Mario's off it.
Needs to find 1.3 seconds. He's not going to find that. Oh,
I think they were a little nervous about the ride height of that car.
Mario Farnbacher off it and picking up all kinds of rubbish offline, all kinds of clag, as
he
David
probably
was
trying to stay off the line as much as he could and give people a chance to put in a fast time, though. That's very heads-up driving.
That is.
And make sure that the right height was right.
Yes. Well, that too.
Because they will get the heat guns and the scrapers on that as soon as they can and get the tyres cleaned off before that car comes back out for the race tomorrow. All live here on IMSA Radio, of course.
That will be Billy Youngman waiting to beat up Mario Farnbacher in the pits, going, "You dirty the tires, you just gave me 7 hours worth of work."
Yeah, it's
But
a thankless job to do as well, actually. The 33 car of Jerome Blake and Mullen comes into the pit lane, the blue, number 1 on the side of the car, designating the provisional pole position. I think pretty much everyone is done, Greg. Is there anyone out there that might improve?
I think Davison's still out. He is, and I don't know that he's seen the checker yet.
And Pompelli as well.
And possibly, yeah, exactly. But I don't think Davison has seen the checker. He slowed down by a whole tenth on the last lap. Here he comes through.
And James Davison
2:04.9
does not improve.
Boy, but so close, yeah.
Let's
But from where he was to 5th, not too shabby.
Well, and there's a little bit of noise in the background that you can probably hear, and that is because Jerome Blake and Mullen is now being congratulated. It seems that his team thought that possibly the last worry was James Davison. They got firmly in the shade Adam camp there. We'll get down to Jeremy Shaw in just a moment as the team are doing the congratulations. Jeremy is lurking down there next to the machine. The 33 machine, the hat goes on for Jerome. And it might well be TV that grab him first. New lap record then. That's the first in 4 classes. Jeremy is there. I'm not sure he's got his mic switched up at the moment, Jeremy, if you can hear me. Hello, Jeremy. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Unfortunately, he's over the wall, so that's a little bit of a difficult one for...
Can you hear me?
Yes,
There
I
we
can.
go.
Don't move.
If I don't move, Jerome can come over here. We've got some problems with connectivity here, Jerome, but great lap there. Well done to get this Viper on the pole.
Yeah, when I heard the time of Mario, I thought it's not going to work, but I'm going to try anyway. And I didn't have quite a clean lap before, but then finally I put it all together, and yeah, it was a great lap. As soon as I crossed the line, I backed off and said, "That's it for us today." I hope it's enough because, you know, we can't go any quicker, but it was great. It was a nice fight with him.
And that was the Aston Martin. James Davison just went past, flips of the throttle there. I think to say congratulations to you.
Yeah, I mean, James has taken the pole so many times away from us in the last lap, so I'm happy finally we did it. It's only, I think, our second pole in more than a year's time, so it was about time to get it again. And you know, it's great. We know we're strong for the race, and yeah, it's unbelievable how much work the team has done and put into everything, the whole project from last year already. So it's great to be part of the team, and I'm really looking forward to the race.
I know how much you always look forward to qualifying, but one lap around here is one thing. That's pretty hard work. But 12 hours around here, that's a different challenge altogether.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying here is great to do because, you know, you have to push hard. It's hot out there, so you don't have a lot of grip. But then again, in the race, you know, with all the traffic, the track will get very dirty. You're going to have to work hard to stay clean and to be fast in the end.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jeremy Shaw proving why we only ask tall people to come and work for us in the pit lane. Brilliant stuff, Jeremy. Thank you
I found
very much indeed.
if you lift the opposite leg a little bit, you gain about 10 dB. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, we have got some...
I'll have to try that next time.
We have got some metal coat hangers here, which we're going to be pushing. We're going back to the 1970s, like BMW Motorsport. Get the old coat hangers out to get the aerial up a bit higher. Well done, Jeremy. Excellent stuff and brilliant. If you want to apply for a job as IMSA radio pit lane reporter and you're 6'11", that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Boy, Jerome is something in qualifying.
Oh man, it's interesting though. He said that clearly. You know, having a bit of a laugh there with Jeremy, but how many times has James Davison nicked it away from him in the dying seconds? So it's nice to finally get one. But nice respect between the competitors there.
Well, it is, and I loved his comment about I heard the time about for Mario, and I thought, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'll try anyway. And then he does what he does. I mean, that's just how Jerome rolls, I guess, is the way to put it.
Jerome, a consummate professional. Back in the 2012 season, he raced 3 GTC races in the ALMS, 3 different teams, and 3 wins.
The last time that James Davison wasn't on pole position, it was Cameron, wasn't it? Yeah, Dane Cameron at Indy. So that's July 2014 that run goes back to. Thank you, Tony DeZino, for getting that. P6 though for GB Autosport. Remarkable. 90 minutes since that engine turned up. And Damien Faulkner putting just 8 laps on it, getting the best time out of it on lap number 6 and putting himself in 6th position. That car will be taken back. It will be spanner checked. They will be looking to see if there's anything dripping out from underneath it. And then they will cycle the rest of their drivers through in a very short practice session in morning warm-up tomorrow before the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida. It's IMSA Radio live from Sebring. And next up, it's what, Shea?
The GTLM cars.
You just love that, don't you?
I so do.
Huge smile on Shea Adams' face, just down to my left. Greg, this was ridiculously close earlier on today. We were literally down to the thousandths of a second time in these cars. We had, I think, half the field within a tenth of a second. These cars have very different configurations, very different design ethos. Front engine, rear engine, mid-engine, big bangers with the big American V8, the European Exotica, and yet the rules makers have done their jobs, and it's a pretty level playing field if those times this morning are anything to go by.
I mean, I think it's been absolutely spectacular how they have got these cars all in that window. And, you know, we've talked before, the idea with BOP is not to, to manage it to the point that, everything is absolutely identical. It's to give everybody the chance, and then you go out and insert, one track or another, one car you'd think might favor. Well, here they are all absolutely the same in terms of that speed. And you're right. I mean, I think we had the top 8 were covered by 0.6 of a second in the practice session this morning. I mean, that's just ridiculous when you think about, as you said, the variety of the cars. And I love how you put it, the design ethos. I mean, certainly the drive lines, but, the BMW always is a car, you look at it, it's much more aggressive aerodynamically. You've got some of the other cars a little bit more slippery. Just everything is, by the manufacturer's concept here, but they get it so close. And then you put literally some of the absolute best drivers in any category in the world in those cars, and it's showtime.
Tom Wellfield says, are the Viper GT3 cars still available for sale? What more do they really need to do before they do sell? Although, in fairness, Jerome Blake-Mullen is a weapon. It's a fair point, Riley. You've done a great job, Greg, with those cars, and they are customer cars. I mean, they like every GT3 car out there, the idea is to try and get them out there and racing in GT3 championships, either here in the States or further afield.
That is absolutely the plan. I mean, we were at Le Mans when they introduced the car, and you looked at it and they said, "Oh, absolutely. We're going to run one, with some support." But the idea is to make these cars available. And of course, Ben Keating, his ViperExchange.com is one of the biggest Viper dealerships and online exchanges in the world, and it was a natural fit for him once that GT3 variant became available to put the deal together and make this all happen. And now 2 cars this year. And, the one thing to say about that, of course, with Jerome on pole, Ben right there in the top 10 himself. When you look back to what happened last year with the fire early in the going and that car absolutely being destroyed, it took them basically a year to rebuild it. I mean, it's made its debut. It was at Daytona when it came back, with that rebuilt car. To see them now on pole, I mean, good for them. That's staying with the program.
Oh,
well, yeah. And Ben Keating and Jerome Blake-Mullen had a pair of wins last year at Mosport and then Circuit of the Americas. They did find their way to victory lane through development, through just building up the car and working on the program. And that whole team has now been together for a year. And, of course, they got some of the benefits, if you will, when SRT went away, because some of those team members came and joined their organization. So it's a very, very strong program.
Okay, 15 minutes set back on the clock. We are running. Pole position to be set in the GTLM category, and that's going to be who, Shea?
Well, I was trying to look back through my notes, and I might be wrong about this, but I believe we've had 11 GTLM races now in the TUDOR Series and 11 pole sitters. Not cars, but drivers.
Right. So
it's a dartboard out there.
So somebody who hasn't done it before.
Somebody who hasn't done it before would be my guess.
Well, we'd see cars cycling through and you'd see a BMW up there, but virtually every time you looked at the monitor, there was a Corvette right there. And I think maybe on just flat outright pace, they might have it here. They just might have it here. And just last year's pole time was a track record of 158.933, which was the number 912 Porsche set that last year. So that's our target time for record category. If you want real specifics, it just seems this weekend like Jan Magnussen just is clocked in.
And Marshall Pruitt has
if he's doing the qualifying, of course.
And Marshall Pruitt has just tweeted the brand new Riley Technology Viper GT3 for sale in the paddock with the sticker that you get on every new car here about its EPA, etc., etc. Base price $459,000, miles per gallon 4.
Would a check be okay?
Yeah, that's
I'm
fine.
not saying it would go through, but would it be okay?
Yeah, I'm sure. Nice. It's in carbon black as well. Just lacquer over the top of it and send it out. That's put race numbers on it. That's the way to go. Out
That's
first.
the idea of GT3, isn't it?
Yeah, 62 car, the Ricci Competizione Ferrari 458. Coming to the end of its life, the 458 now. The 468 already has made its debut as a street car, twin turbocharged version of the engine that sits behind, in the back rather, of this car. That is so shiny red, it's almost painful to look at in the sunshine. That is unbelievable shine.
It goes well with Pierre Caffer's helmet design as well with the yellow. It's very, very bright.
Pierre coming off a 4th position for a Ferrari, private Ferrari team at the 12 Hours of Mugello last weekend, part of the FIA International Endurance Series. That was the Pirate car, the Black Pearl racing car with one S. Paro at the wheel. Yes, really.
Every time you started it, arr, 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 arr.
4 or 5 pieces of it, that one was, of course. The number 4, sorry, I'll get my coat. The number 4 Corvette is out on the circuit. I'll tell you what, I think.
Drum roll.
No, that sounded more like a cat.
Snoring.
Cat's drilling
That's
behind.
one content announcer.
Yes, cat's drilling. I think this might be a Porsche. I think this might just be a Porsche. I think they were very quick in the early part of the week. It might even be the 17 Porsche that we see on our monitors right now. Those guys have been working very, very hard over the off-season, not doing anything really other than testing and developing the Falcon tyres. This is a breakthrough year for them. They admitted. Pat Long's on the driving squad this weekend with Wolf Hensler and Brian Sellers, of course, who've done most of the work for this car. These guys have won races, but will they win on a regular basis? The 911 and the 912, well, they're going to be there as well, the 2 core works cars. But I just feel that there's maybe a Porsche time in this track with the track the temperatures the way they are this afternoon. And we'll find out in 11 minutes' time.
Well, I mean, they had that record last year, so, I mean, it's certainly within the realm of possibility. And, we just had that Continental Tire race. Lots of offs, lots of stuff, junk on the track.
Good point.
It's slippery out there, and we know that as the grip goes down on a track, those Falcon tires seem to really come alive even better. So who knows? I mean, it's entirely possible. But now we're going to start seeing some times.
The number 4 Chevy Corvette comes to the line. Has a great front end on it, the way it turned into 17. Really positive on the turn-in. Almost prototype-like as Tommy Milner comes across the line with a 2:01.9. Here comes the 17.
I think that's Wolf behind the wheel, as a
I think
matter
you're
of
right.
fact.
Yep, coming to the start-finish line now. And he goes to the provisional pole. 2 minutes, 0.6.
Game on.
Yeah, the Aston Martin, of course, is going to be out there as well. And Pedro Lamy, I'm told, will be qualifying. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Pedro.
And he goes to P1.
Provisionally.
Damn, I wish I'd picked him down.
We're still a second off of what we saw last year, though, for a pole time. That was a 158.9. We are at a 159.8. So got a ways to go, and these drivers know it. They know there's more in the car. They're just getting everything up to temperature and letting her rip.
Yeah, I mean, this is their first flying lap. So
and everybody who's crossed the line has gone quicker than the car before, Greg. That's the interesting thing. Didn't see much of the 912, the 912 Porsche in the last practice session. They had just a few laps last night as well, I think half a dozen or so. They go across the line to start their first flyer.
Earl Bamber, Fred McVecky,
Caffer.
and Jörg Bergmeister behind the wheel. That one, Jörg won last year, so he probably doesn't need that many laps.
Ferrari to the top, Greg.
Yep, Risi Competizione, Pierre Caffer at that 1:59.386.
Lap record's going to go, isn't it?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Next lap, I think it will.
All 4 lap records to go today? There's a possibility, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Maybe
there is.
not PC, because it was Bruno Junqueira who said it last year, and he's pretty good at setting records that hold.
That's a good point.
All right.
All right, here comes now the number 4, which was first one through with Tommy Milner
This is
last
his
time.
second flying lap now. Gets right out of the wall on the exit of 17. Points the car at the start-finish line and improves to a 2 minutes, .196. Only good enough for third position behind Pedro Lamy in the Aston Martin number 98 and Pierre Caffer in the 62. Risi Ferrari, Antonio Garcia. It is the law, of course, that the 3 and 4 cars should be separated by no more than a couple of hundredths of a second, and indeed that is the case with a 2 minutes, .157 against a 196. 3 and 4 are in positions 3 and 4. If only my life was that easy all of the time.
Yes, so decreed by Lord Fian.
Yes,
apparently.
I'm sure, yes.
The OCD is so happy right now that the 3 is in third and the 4 is in fourth.
That would be CDO, of course.
Yes.
Because that's in alphabetical
Yes.
order, the way it should be. Thank you.
All right, Pierre Caffer making his way now up onto that long run down the Ullman Straight. And still his time, a 1:59.3 has him really, half a second clear of everybody right now. And I think there's more left for this Ferrari.
And there's a Porsche behind him taking the draft. So coming down that straight, that will be helping. Can't tell if it was the 911 or the 912, but that will be a fast car when it crosses the line.
Man, does he run to the wall.
All the way out and has to actually turn right to miss the part of the straight where it narrows up. And
New
Caffer,
record.
lap record, 158.927, 159.896 for Pedro Lamy through in second place, Antonio Garcia in third, and there goes Patrick Pilet, the 911, another 159, low 59s, a 159.4, but half a second. Pierre Caffer and Ferrari, the manufacturer that none of us mentioned, of course, which is shame on us, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's Risi at Sebring. We should know better.
Jeremy Shaw down in the pit lane. Jeremy, sorry, got a bit excited there. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, it's Pedro Lamy's birthday today.
Yeah.
Secondly, we've got 5 different manufacturers, haven't we, at the moment, in the top 5, which is kind of cool. Ferrari, Porsche, Aston Martin, Chevrolet. The Chevrolets have spoiled him because he just got ahead of the BMW. Talking of BMW, Jochen Neerpasch is here. Doesn't want to have a chat right now, but maybe at the end of the session or tomorrow. And Jochen Neerpasch, of course, he's the guy who started BMW Motorsport 40 years ago. First time here since then, I think.
Yes, he doesn't look a day older either, Jeremy. Thank you. Antonio Garcia to second, outside of the front row as it stands at the moment with 6 minutes and 5 seconds to go. 1:59.3. Still only Pierre Caffer in the 1:58 bracket. Now, the 25 BMW, Dirk Werner at the wheel. He's done a 2 minutes, .6, and that's only good enough for 7th position at the moment. He's got Antonio Garcia trying to chase him down as they came out of turn number 7 there, but a good bit of clear track in front of the white and BMW Motorsport stripe. That just looks so great, that Z4. And as I said yesterday, I'm going to say it again, it is reminiscent of the old 3-litre CSLs with those big box arches on them. Only needs the really big Batmobile rear wing to set that off. And even the IHG Rewards Club BMW Fast Lap cars have got those stripes on this weekend. And thanks very much to Mike Renner for giving me a run in that car early on. IHG Rewards Club, it's not just hotels. We had a lot of fun.
That's a reward.
Oh, it really was. Seeing it, it's the first time in 16 years I've ever been out on the track. I haven't been even round there on a golf court. So it was a real eye-opener for me. 5 minutes to go. Who's got anything left?
Well, Pilet just turned a 1:59.2 in the 911. Fredo Macco had gone a 1:59.3 in the team car, was third for a minute, and then Pilet turned that time, pushed both Antonio and the 912 back to third and fourth respectively. Lamy still right there in fifth as we are on board now with Garcia. So close. You've got to use every bit of stripe here. And what does he do? Second, a 1:58.9.
2 cars now then in the 58s. 58, 927 and 996.066 0.9 of a second between pole and the outside of the front row as it stands at the moment. There's less than half a second between the top 4, which is at the moment Ferrari 62, Corvette number 3, and Porsche's 911 and 912. And Pierre Caffer is feeling the heat on and the pressure on his time, because he is getting earlier and earlier on the throttle out of every corner. The back end of the Ferrari squirming around. The Michelin's unable to contain that Italian torque and power. Still has the big red number 1 on the side of the car, indicating that pole position at the moment.
Pierre Caffer won this race 4 times, one of those in the Audi R8, not the one that we just saw running in the last session, but the real prototype way back when. He was on pole last in 2011, and if he can hold on for another 3 minutes and 26 seconds, he might be able to do it again.
Boy, yeah, absolutely. Frederick Machiavecchi going right to the wall, jumps to third at a 159 flat. So still only 2 guys down in the 58s. And let's see, Caffer, he might be spooling up for a run here. He's picked the pace up and really is throwing it down into turn 1 now.
2:03 last time around, so he's cooled those Michelin tyres. Jeremy Shaw is down in the pit lane. What observations do you have with just 2.5 minutes to go?
This is fun. It really is. Tell you who is also down here is Hurley Haywood. Hurley Haywood, a massive amount of success, a Floridian himself. Hurley, this is exciting stuff.
It sure is. I mean, you know, the track is such a challenge to go fast here. There's so many bumps and so many issues that you have to deal with. So to get a good time is difficult, but it is 12 hours. So pace is important, and the race strategy important. So that's what everybody's working on right now.
How much fun did you find to be qualifying around here, because it is such a physical challenge?
Well, if you didn't have good fillings on, you'd lose your fillings. If you know, so you know, qualifying is important for the glory, but for the distance, this is a 12-hour race. It's kind of like the 24 hours of Daytona. So qualifying is kind of for the hype. But once the race starts, that's when you're going to see everybody's cards.
Yeah, thanks, Hurley Haywood.
Jeremy Shaw mixing with the legends there down in the pit lane. I think Jeremy qualifies as a legend, I'll be honest. He's sorry, Jeremy?
So I'm old enough.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say I've grown up watching him?
Well, so have I. Don't forget as well.
I haven't grown up yet, so I'm ahead of you both.
Jeremy and I aren't growing up. Greg and I are deciding that all of us are going to grow old disgracefully. It's the only way to go.
As the old saying goes, you have to get old. You never have to grow up. So
yeah, that's right.
Boy, Machiavecchi, a 1 minute 58.587. John, you've got some chops, man. You figured out it might be a Porsche. That's a big gap. That's 0.34 of a second here. What a lap by Fredo.
Wow. John's sitting back looking very comfortable at the moment.
He's purring again, actually. It's disturbing.
And he's not finished. Machiavecchi comes through to turn number 6, riding the curves on the exit of 5, heading down towards Chateau Alain in that hard right turn. Meantime, on board with Antonio Garcia, coming to the end of a quick lap. He's at 17. Have a listen to the big American V8 muscle engine in front of him. Snatches 4th gear, 5th across the line, and up to 2nd place. Just 2 tenths away. So from having the cars so close together, there's 2.5 tenths between 1st and 3rd now. Then another 10th back to 4th. Still only half a second covering the top 5, but Machiavecchi with a 2/10 advantage at the moment. Comes down to the far end of the circuit, the airfield on his left-hand side as he rounds turn number 12 and heads off towards the S's. Fantastic bit of the circuit. Hit the curb on the left. You can ride it there. It's fairly flat now. Down through the gearbox into the Jean de Bian bends. Not sure he's right on that now, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Comes up. No, he's not. Didn't come off the track. If you are on it, you're all 4 wheels off to the left-hand side before you chop back in to the final corner, Le Mans curve onto the Ullmann back straight.
Great lap, by the way, too, by Dirk Werner, the number 25 BMW from Team Rahal Letterman Lanigan, up into 3rd at a 158.842.
And a good one from Lucas Lohr as well. Lucas, who has 5 class wins here at Sebring. He knows how to get it done.
Yeah, he's something, Lucas is. No question. So the 912, Machiavecchi saying, that's what my cards are on the table.
And Shea, if Mako does keep the pole position, he will be the 13th different GTLM pole sitter in as many United Sports Car races, Tudor United Sports Car races. Tony Tazzino's done the hard work there and checked back to that.
In fairness, though, he hasn't done a whole bunch of them. He
No.
did Daytona, and he did the COTA race. So that's not too bad for 3 starts to have a pole.
The checkered flag is out. Now, is there anybody out on the circuit? Well, there are, because I can see Corvettes. The bright velocity yellow cars are still out there, and here comes Garcia, but I think he's off the gas.
I do too. Look what Pilet did, though, while we were looking at the other stuff. It's a Porsche 1-2 right now.
Wow. And look at the gaps between second, third, and fourth. Nothing at all. 158, 806, 828, 842. That's second, third, and fourth, separated by 4 100ths of a second. Yes, 4 100ths of a second. There's some happy faces down at Porsche. They have Weissached the front row, haven't they? It's not a whitewash, it's a Weissach front row. And Fred Machiavecchi and Patrick Pilet have done the job. Just had a feeling that they might be able to pull something off there, and they have done.
That's a nice smile, isn't it? Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
do not hold up the L shape. I said somebody who hadn't gotten a pole in this series before, and thank you very much. But
Didn't you? You didn't want to commit, though. There was no commitment there, Adam. That's, you can't be mealy-mouthed when you're in the booth.
I'll give you this one, but our race choices,
Okay.
I'll give you definite ones for.
Okay. Antonio Garcia in third position for the number 3 Corvette. Greg,
I'm in the middle of a trash talk fest here. This is unbelievable.
It's like it's like being the MC at a heavyweight weigh-in at the moment. Antonio Garcia for Corvette is in third position.
I didn't say anything.
Dirk Werder has BMW in fourth position, and the fourth different manufacturer in 5 cars has the Ferrari of Pierre Caffer in fifth position for the 62 Racing Competizione car. Then it's the number 24 of Lucas Law. Tommy Milner for the second of the Corvettes, strangely distant from his teammate by fully, let me see, 9.4 to an 8.8. So that's just about half a second, and yet that is for 5 places. Wolf Hensler for the Falcon Tyres 17 car is next in 8th position, and rounding up the 9 cars, 98 Pedro Labby. Let's go down to Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, with Fred Machiavecchi.
Uh,
Hey, hold a second. I just walked out the back here. Fred, thank you for coming out here with me. We're having problems with the communications here.
Yeah, I see.
You have no problems whatsoever. Tremendous lap there to put that car on the pole.
Oh, for sure, it was a good lap, and it was difficult. But since the free practice, we worked very well to find a really good compromise, and I'm really enjoy for the team, because I think it's really a team job, and now we have a good base for the race.
Yeah, and what does it mean to you to get a pole here at Sebring? I mean, it's a really historic racetrack, and it's a real challenge out there for a driver, isn't it?
Yeah, and also especially because it's one of my favorite track, and I like to be at the limit here. It's not easy, because you know that between the limit and too much, it's really close. I like this, and we'll see now during the race. I'm lucky. I have really two great teammates, and I'm sure we can do a really good race.
And you obliterated the lap record.
Yes, it's nice.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Genius stuff, I think. Fred Machiavecchi, who in the last few years has firmly placed himself as one of the top GT drivers. It's not that long ago that Eve and I were at Zolder in Belgium watching Fred driving GT3s and GT4s, basically anything that anyone would let him drive. He's built up his experience, Greg, and in some ways worked, if you like, an old-fashioned apprenticeship and come through the ranks. Porsche have seen the opportunity, and of course he gets a huge opportunity at Le Mans as well this year.
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the the things from our perspective over here, obviously, is that for a while, I mean, Fred appeared very short time ago in North American radar, and it was what started to happen when he joined Aston Martin, and those things started to really, go. So, I mean, from certain perspectives, he's become one of those overnight sensations, but the man is unbelievably quick and talented, and he's just shown that. I mean, you take a look at the names that he has here, and the fact that in a class that we were talking about, you can have 6 cars covered by 1/10 of a second sometimes, to have over a 2/10 margin over the entire rest of the field. And behind him, a 158.80, a 158.82, a 158.84. I mean, a 158.92, a 158.9. The times are incredibly close, behind him, and then he found that 2/10. Doesn't sound like much, but at this level, that was a staggering lap.
Well, when you consider that the whole field in GTLM is separated by 1.3 seconds, and that 2/10 of that is between first and the rest of the field, and if you like, 4/10 is between 7th and the back of the field. So that is a big margin. You're right, that is a very big margin, and McAvicky found the sweet spot on the 912. The car that has done fewer laps, actually, in terms of the two works Porsches this weekend. Some very, very happy Porsche faces down there. The Porsche man, that is a works team. Core Autosport, the deal put together, a couple of seasons ago now, for the guys from Core. They effectively moved their operation over to Porsche Motorsport North America on the West Coast, and it's run out of the Porsche shop over there, and they have become, if you like, the Manti Racing of the USA, and they are running the works operation, the factory operation over here. A fantastic accolade for them. But Greg, they have repaid that confidence in spades right from the very first moment they were awarded that contract.
Well, and a guy who played a key role in making that all happen was Patrick Long.
Yeah, ironically driving for a different Porsche team this weekend, yeah.
Exactly. He recognized that the core shops, he went there, looked at things, and realized just how strong they were. That was 3 years ago, convinced the Porsche, gave them, well, not give them, but helped them procure one of the cars when there was no Porsche factory program and the support wasn't there, helped them get the car. And he said, we want to show you that this team is one that would be capable of being the Manti Racing, as you said. And it became readily apparent, very quick order, that was absolutely indeed the case. And boy, they have been on it, and just an absolute joy to watch. Just in this session, this is just what this series, this class is all about, just that level of competition. And then we get to see him play for 12 hours tomorrow too. That's that just has you drooling, really.
Oh, sorry, am I supposed to speak there? Sorry, I was taken away completely by the thought of these cars racing for 12 hours tomorrow. So the GT poles then are Porsche with the 912 in GTLM. Fred McAvicky by 2/10 of a second over his teammate Patrick Pilet, who had 2/10 over Antonio Garcia, who had a couple of tenths over Dirk Werner. In GTD, it's Viper, the 33 car, Jerome Bleekemolen over Mario Farnbacher in the 23 by just on half a tenth, or maybe a little bit more. And then Spencer Pumpelly in third place in the 73 GTD. Story really of that qualifying session was the 81 car of GP Autosport getting out after barely having an engine in the back of the car. In fact, it didn't have an engine in the back of the car this morning when we were talking to Damien Faulkner. Damien turns 8 laps, and on the 6th one, put in a time good enough for 6th position in that category. So here, live on IMSA Radio, we move on to the LMPC qualifying. The Continental Tires Le Mans prototypes about to go out onto the circuit. Now, traditionally, these cars have provided just as much entertainment as we've already seen. It tends to be go out, get the tyres up to temp, and then just keep running until the checkered flag comes out. The Continental tyres, particularly for these LMPC cars, seem to be tremendously reliable through the 15 minutes of running that we get. And the consistency, Greg, is basically just get out there, make sure you warm them up reasonably well on the first out lap, and then just keep driving and try and get faster.
Well, exactly. And keep in mind that of all the classes that are running, 3 of the 4 here running on Continental tires, Prototype Challenge has the extra year, because the last year when the merger was announced and going to happen, that year they actually had the Prototype Challenge cars running on the Continental tires. So they've really been able to tune the tires and the cars a bit together and make these work very well. And you're right. I mean, the cars, it's nice. You warm them up right so you don't hurt them, you don't under pressure them, whatever. You get them right, then you can just run them for a little bit. And keep in mind, I love this class for a number of reasons, but that's the biggie: no traction control.
Correct.
It means a driver is going to, the traction control is your right foot, and it's getting the most out of it. And these cars, they have excellent downforce. We've talked about it. It's a proper prototype chassis. It's evolved a bit, obviously, but it's a great chassis. But it's got that big, torquey LS3 V8 in the back, and as a result, these cars, you've got to really be finesse driving these cars, and I love that. I mean, I understand traction control, it's technology that's relevant, but a car that doesn't have it, that you've got to go out and literally control it yourself, there's something special about that to me. And you get the level of drivers that this class has on the Pro-Am, on the pro side of the Pro-Am equation. Boy, do they put on a show.
Traction control in this car is the connection between your backside, your brain, and your right foot.
Exactly.
That is traction control. Oh, a little bit of a lock up there from the 52 car. Yep.
And that's enough. Colin Brown said thanks.
Yeah. Colin wants to have a clear run in the 54 core Autosport car, and he'll be weaving around to get the rubbish off his tyres from having to go offline just a wee moment ago. Now, what's happening here? These guys don't need to be messing about side by side into turn 17 to start a flying lap. It's not the right way to do it. Colin turns in, takes his position, rides the bumps, and comes out to start his first flying lap, and goes across the line, immediately darts to the right-hand side. That is the line on the front straight here at Sebring into turn 1. Immense speed. Barely, it seems as though they barely scrub off any speed at all before they turn in all the way to the outside, the right-hand side of the circuit, before dragging it back for the right-hander. Miss the curbs through this complex. They are much higher than they look from our TV commentary points and our TV cameras.
Tom Kimber-Smith, who was right with Colin as they got down into turn 1, I think he lost a little bit of the air on the nose. He pushed wide. He had to check up a little bit. So this lap is not going to be a good one for Tom, but for Colin, this is going to be, and Colin has been the man in this category. I mean, Bruno Juncker, Shea was talking about it, has produced some remarkable qualifying runs, but in terms of sheer number and frequency, usually it's Colin Brown who's the guy who at least sets the marker and oftentimes ends up with the pole. So this will be fun to watch, see what he throws down this first time.
Yeah, and Tom Kimber-Smith now, is he just far enough back that he's not losing the air from the front and pushing too wide and doing damage to those Continental tyres? As we've already had 3.5 minutes and none of the PC runners have put a time in yet. That's what happens on these long laps. Wait till we get to Road America later in the season.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, of course, Lime Rock, it's finished. They've gone. They've done their laps.
In that 15-minute session, they go to 30 laps.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it seems like that, doesn't it?
Goes.
Although interesting, of course, Lime Rock is one of the fastest tracks that this series goes to. It's a very close call in terms of average lap speeds between the longest circuit on the calendar being Road America and the shortest being Lime Rock Park. All right, here is Colin Brown then coming out of the final corner. He gets the car pointing in the right direction. The invisible hand of downforce pushing him into the ground, and he does a 56.4. That's not a bad opener.
No.
The very lovely Kimberly Smith behind him in the 52 car. 58.2. 1.8 seconds back, and that is the penalty for travelling, I think, a little bit too close to Colin in the early part of that lap.
Yep, exactly. I mean, he really ran wide and won when he was up right behind him and had to check up big time. Here comes the 38 Performance Tech entry out of that last turn onto the front straight. See what kind of a time they put up there. That's Connor Daly, and he's taking a little bit easier again. He doesn't have as much time in these cars. But you know what? James French, one of his co-drivers, has driven this car many times last season, and the fact that they asked Connor to go out and qualify, one, a lot of confidence in Connor.
Yeah.
Also, extra track time, giving him an opportunity to get out there and just flog this car here. Renger van de Zende, always one of the guns in this. And take a look at where he comes up. Actually, it's Alex Popov showing
behind
you
the
in
wheel.
qualifying.
Alex
Okay.
Popov, yeah. He's not got up to speed yet because he's barely cracked 2 minutes in that car. Jeremy Shaw, welcome back to the air conditioning.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Alex hasn't done very many laps
No, he
either
hasn't.
in that car. So they
Added
just
to it late to spoil your spoil your spreadsheet.
one
I think.
of many. So, was there something wrong with the nose of that car, the Popov car? Was it right?
Didn't notice it.
Didn't say.
But
Get another look. Colin Brown at the
funky.
moment by 1.7 seconds as Martin Plowman drops in to second place. Martin Plowman announcing a GT program earlier on this week. Looking forward to that. Had a good chat with him in Marion's, where else, of course, where everybody goes to chat and have great food at the racing circuit.
All right, here we go. Colin at 156.4.
Let's make that a 155.6 this time. Oh, just take 8/10 away from every other. Tom Kimber-Smith goes through. He improves down to a 57.2, but still 1.6 seconds away. Rusty Mitchell into third in the 85. And that's a 2.1 second deficit, 157.8. Now these aren't bad times. That's anything under 2 minutes round here. You're pulling time. It's pretty good stuff, even in a downforce car. As Tom Kimber-Smith has found himself a bit of clear circuit now. As Colin Brown has cleared off into the distance, he's coming down towards turn number 7. Jeremy?
Second place then for Connor Daly in car number 38, 156.5. So the young man from Indiana, Irish dad, of course, Derek Daly, but Connor very much an American, even though he carried some Irish colours on his helmet.
Doesn't want to be
combination of colours on his helmet.
Yes, absolutely.
Boy, getting some rotation through that corner, didn't he?
Not sure he wants to be riding that inside curve as much as he was there. Looked like he just had to come back off the throttle a tiny wee bit. And I'm not going to second guess any of these guys. Having said that,
I love the dynamic of Connor Daly driving for this team when his dad, when he won here, drove for the Nissan team, which was Performance Technologies.
Yeah.
And just there's a nice little relationship unfolding right there. And Connor doing a superb job. Boy, he is throwing that around.
MPTI as they were at Le Mans, of course.
Yeah, Niptec, Nissan Performance Technology, Inc. Absolutely right. Colin Brown still at the front there with that 155.6 on his second lap. Martin Plowman then into second place for Bar 1 Motorsports. Connor Daly in third. And Connor Daly really settled quickly into that team, very much impressing them with his attitude, his approach, and his sort of affability too. I mean, just a really good guy.
Look at my face, Jeremy. Is there any sign of surprise on that at all? The guy is an out-and-out pro. He would drop into any team, and it's still something of a mystery to me to wonder why he hasn't been able to get a more regular drive at the highest levels of motorsport. And maybe this reinvents his career. As Jeremy looks away from the screen as the... Now, is that an improvement? No, it isn't. I was going to say... Oh, it is. Yes, Connor Daly up to third position in the 38 as he bounced through turn 17 there.
By the way, Brown improved on his last lap at 155.32. That gets him now within half a second of Bruno Junqueira's ridiculous record. That would have put him second on the grid last year. But Junqueira just found a lap he was 7/10 clear of everybody else last year. It was one of those magic laps. And Colin Brown now, that is some serious pace. Were it not for Bruno's lap, that would be sub-record. So good lap.
Plowy to the line with 5.5 minutes all there to go. 55.910. So that again is his best lap, but he's still nearly 4/10 away from Colin Brown. This must be slightly demoralising for everybody else. Oh, excellent. I've found another 10th. I've found another couple of... Oh, hang on. Brown's gone quicker again. Which is how it's working at the moment. Now it looks to me as though Colin Brown's lifted off a tiny bit there, and he's going to have to keep an eye on his mirrors to make sure he doesn't nose up the next lap by Tom Kimber-Smith. Now he gets back on it, punches the throttle, gets a lovely clean exit from 17 there and crosses the line. I wonder if this might be, well, okay, he lifted a little bit to a 55.4. A full 10th.
55.8 there for Tom Kimber-Smith in car number 52 for PR1 Matheson Motorsports. So up into second place again then Tom Kimber-Smith, and now just about a half a second away from Colin Brown.
And here comes Connor Daly again at a 156.1 last time through, fourth. Takes it a little bit more to the wall this time. He's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable and letting that car really have its head, and it pays off with a 155.7, jumps him from fourth to second.
The last time Connor Daly raced here, and not on the full circuit, was probably his Skip Barber days.
Oh, yeah.
That's a while ago, 2008. Might be wrong. I can't think what else he'd have done here since then.
Here's Plowman, who every time he comes through finds more speed into turn 17. Arcing through. Boy, rough ride down there. Picks up the throttle right to the exit, all the way to the wall. See what he does. He had a 55.9 and goes to the pole. A 155.257 for Martin Plowman in the number 16 Bar 1 Motorsports machine. That was a staggering lap.
It was impressive, and he looked particularly smooth, relatively speaking, through turn 17 there. The car didn't seem to be bucking around nearly as much as some of the other guys here, so I think they've done a very good job on that Bar 1 Motorsports machine.
Yeah, the setup was great, and he drove, and there's lines. I mean, sometimes you can find a line that just works a little bit better for your chassis.
Yeah, John Travis, the race engineer at Bar 1. Look at Colin Brown's car. It's all over the place. I mean, it really is hopping from bump to bump to bump, and that didn't look tidy at all. Let's see what the time is.
Well, the stopwatch is the ultimate judge, isn't it?
55.6.
Yeah. I think he was a tad wide there, Jeremy, as he came in. He might have just been trying a different line because the back end got out of shape well before he got under the bridge there.
Improvement there for Tom Kimber-Smith. 155.4, so now all of a sudden, from Colin Brown having a 3/4 of a second advantage, now we've got three cars within 0.2 of a second, and Connor Daly knocking on the door as well. Here he comes through turn 17, underneath the Michelin bridge, across the line in a few seconds. There he goes. The time is slower.
Yeah, 156.
Connor, you're not listening to me.
Jeremy Shaw,
even though it's 56.1, which is pretty good effort.
You would make a fantastic on-stage magician. And here we have. Oh, they're still there. Right, hang on. And here we have. No, the bottle is still there. That was brilliant. I'm going to clip that. That was absolutely super.
He let me down, didn't he?
All right, here we go. Mr. Plowman, one more time. See, does he improve on that 55.25? He
doesn't.
He was off by a couple.
Oh, we've started something now, haven't we? All right, 1 minute and 41 seconds left on the clock. And Colin Brown is once again winding. He'll get across the line here, I think, for one more.
Yep.
He's having a look in the mirrors just to see where Tom Kimber-Smith is in that white. Is that navy blue or is it a black car? It's always hard to tell on the cameras with the chevrons on the front of it.
Well, historically, that car's had a blue tint to it, but boy, is it dark.
It's really, really dark. It's a sort
brighter.
of a Westminster blue, isn't it? The old governmental cars used to be like that. I had a Jaguar XJ6 that was so dark blue that it sometimes looked black. Across the line, Brown will get another lap. So will Tom Kimber-Smith with still a minute on the clock. Kimber-Smith turns into the first corner, runs right out to the rumble strip.
That's the first time that I haven't held my breath with him going through there. He would turn in always a little earlier than the other guys and push way out. That time he squared it just a little bit more and had a little bit more to play with on the exit. Here comes Connor.
And that was another
another lap too.
Yeah, there was another 155.462 there for Colin Brown. So he's turned a string of really quick laps.
59.3 for Connor. Right, well, he's cooled his Continental tyres and given himself a little space between himself and the rest of the field. Let's see if he can relight the tyres and switch them back on. He was pretty much centimetre perfect going to the edge of the curbs at the exit of turn number 1. also about to come through, Martin Plowman. I fancy he's heading to the pit lane. Oh, I fancy wrong. He stayed out there. Didn't look quick, though. The checkered flag is out. He's not going to get another lap. Martin Plowman, 55.515 to back up his 55.257. Quite remarkable.
Yeah, and what is amazing about that is the fact that it looks so smooth through turn 17.
That's Plowy, though.
Unlike any other car. Yeah, Andron Travis and that crew setting up that car for him. It really rides those bumps very, very nicely. In stark contrast to every other car in the field.
Driving the GT4 and the GT3 cars, as he has been doing recently, he said it makes him really appreciate the downforce and the lack of weight transfer that he has when he's in these cars. Still going to be doing this year. But
that's as smooth as Collins looked through that corner, isn't it?
And it's as quiet as the cars looked, for sure. Now, has he improved? 555, 155.555, so no. Just 0.070 away from Plowman's best time. Here's Tom Kimber-Smith. Needs to find a 10th and a half and doesn't.
So we have one guy out there, that's Connor Daly, who, as you had pointed out, had cooled off those tires just a little bit and then started to throw one down. So this is it. Last time down the Ullman Straight into 17.
He will already know if he's got a chance. He's looking down at the dashboard to the delta time, to the time that's ticking him off around the circuit. If he stays out, he must feel like he's got a chance to improve, and he does. Now, he may not go to the pole position, but can he get on the front row? Connor Daly across the line in a 56.4.
Nope.
So didn't get within 0.6 of a second of his best.
So that time will have ticked him off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I tell you, so it looks like the pole then for Martin Plowman. What a great effort by the Englishman there. This will be his first pole, I think, in this series, yes. Didn't get one last year. But Colin Brown, I mean, less than a 10th away from the pole, but he turned, 4 or 5 laps at least within a couple of tenths of a second of that best time.
But interesting, look at the way the guys got their times. Colin Brown got his best lap on his 3rd lap out. Went out, did a warm-up lap, a flyer, then his best time. Martin Plowman went out, came back in, did a slight adjustment to the tyre pressures, went back out, and then built up in the next 5 laps to his best time of a 1:55.257. Now, he got close to it on his 7th lap, but he didn't actually beat it. That's an interesting difference of how they went about their work here this afternoon, gentlemen.
Yeah, great lap, no question about it. And, of course, he ran the P2 in the American Le Mans Series with David Hannemeyer Hansen, and they had some pretty good runs there. So obviously, but boy, in this type of car, what a great lap! And again, Jeremy, I think we can't talk about it enough because of the implication it has for a 12-hour race around this rough circuit. That car just looked so comfortable.
Yeah, it did. And a very, very fine effort. Yeah, he'll be thrilled to bits, Will Plowy, and that's a fine effort.
Just on the question of the PR1 car, Andy Blackmore has told me it's a black wrap with a dark grey paisley-style pattern. Very subtle, he says. Okay.
All right.
Andy.
Answered. Thank you so much.
Asked and answer. Andy Blackmore responsible for some of the best liveries out there. Looks like Plowy is a happy man at the moment. Thumbs up to the cameras. And heads to the press conference. Yeah, it was a bit sideways. The international sign of being sideways. Get the hands crossed over and push your bottom out in the opposite
And I like the
direction.
other one, too. You know, now you have that signal, you put the thumb right at the base of the chin, and that's on the tip of the sword for the whole lap. I mean, it was superb.
Do you know what, though? I don't think Colin Brown and Tom Kimber-Smith will be overly disappointed with that. No. They were both within, all top 3 within 1.5 tenths. Yes, it's, there's an advantage and some bragging rights tonight for being on the pole position, but you can't fault Colin Brown or Tom Kimber-Smith for their effort, for both of those guys.
Well, you were talking about, obviously, the fact no traction control. I mean, this was all just about the feel and everything, and ultimately the connection that you mentioned, from the right foot to those 2 most important sensors in a race car that are labeled, LC and LR, left cheek, right cheek.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
That's how it works. And boy, what a lap.
Just the Turner team with the Andy Blackmore livery in Tudor this year, although he's got CJ Wilson, Bimmerworld and the new Audi S3 in the Continental Tyres series that we had here earlier on today.
5 minutes, and guess what?
Then it's the big boys. Take a step back from the track right now if you're of a nervous disposition. Turn away, because in 20 minutes' time we'll be able to tell you who is on pole for this year's Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida. And it is likely to be a proper old-fashioned drag-out fist fight. Not under the Marquess of Queensberry rules. It will be last man standing out there.
UFC rules, probably.
Yeah, well.
It's crazy. First of our 3 classes that did not get a track record.
Got close, though. Closer than I think many people thought they would. What was John Carr's time from last year?
It was a 54.8. And he was 7/10 clear of the field. So that was, like I said, that was well quicker than second place.
All right, 55.2 then. So 0.4 of a second. From Martin Plowman away from that lap of the gods that we saw Bruno Junqueira put in last year. You're listening to IMSA Radio live from Sebring. And it's Greg, John and Jeremy in the booth.
Yeah, Tom Kimber-Smith had he was second last year, and his lap was a 55.6. Just for a reference point. So the top 3 guys beating that, but there was some otherworldly help for Bruno on that lap, I think, last year. I remember when that popped up and we were just sitting here, jaws dropped, going, that's ridiculous.
Hand of God, that one.
Exactly. Oh, boy, I can't wait for this now.
Well, let's pick up some stories on this, because the biggest story is the changing of the engine down at Michael Shank. They had the back of the Ligier in pieces earlier on today. We'll find out, I suppose, if we see it roll out onto the apron, if it's going to be out there.
I mean, if it is, that car certainly, I think Oz Negri, who you would imagine would do the qualifying, had a very good shot at pole from what we were seeing in the practice times and the night practice in that car. They were always right there. So they'll be mega frustrated if they can't get that car out for the session, I would think. That's too bad.
In the big scheme of things, it doesn't matter, but having had the pole at Daytona, Jeremy, I think Michael and the rest of the team would like to go out there and stamp their authority on this one again.
Yeah, they absolutely would, because they're on a bit of a roll there with that car. They want to start up towards the front, because that makes it easier in the race. If you've got to work your way through the pack at all, then it puts extra strain on everything, including your confidence and your belief into in other people. You've got to worry about the other guys around you much more if you're starting back in the pack, early stages of the race.
And here, the start and the opening lap can be very fraught with the bumps. Somebody gets it wrong, the cars bounce across, come across, things can get crazy. And we were talking about that. If you have a car that can start in that front row overall, you want it there because you're free and clear of all of that sort of thing. And if you have to start, even if they put them just in the back of the prototype field, that still puts you back in the potential melee.
Flaga Katsumata has tweeted in at IMSA Radio, said, there is endurance, then there is Sebring. Beating the living whatnots out of man and machine. It's a fair point, isn't it? And what we have just seen in terms of the cars bouncing around through 17 and other parts of the circuit is a perfect example of that, with 60 seconds to go before we start the 15 minutes. I'm hearing from Marshall Pruitt from Racer.com that the Michael Shank car was fired up 15 minutes ago and has gone out onto the setup pad. So we will see that car, we believe, in qualifying. Thanks, MP. Listening in here, I'm sure, on 454, our scanner frequency, provided to us by Racing Radios, our official communications partner here at IMSA Radio. And don't forget, at the weekend, if you're here at the track, or perhaps slightly further afield, then the WWTK AM 730 crew will be simulcasting our race call throughout Central Florida on AM 730, of course. And thanks to Peter and the rest of the crew back over there for giving up their breakfast show to us on Wednesday for a bit of fun. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Barry Foster and the rest of the guys.
Oh, I love that look.
And we are ready to go. And at the weekend, of course, we are happy to announce that brand new for this season of IMSA Radio, we'll also be broadcasting our race call across the United States and Canada on Sirius 117. And that is for the TUDOR United Sports Car Series tomorrow only, of course, for the race. So Sirius 117. Thank you. 117.
It's great having a
Sirius.
stats guy, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you, Brian.
Just on the outlap, look at the beating these guys are taking.
Yeah, that is on board the 60 Michael Shank car. In fact, that is the on-road chassis, the Ligier machine. And whose helmet's that, Jeremy?
Negri.
It is Negri, yeah. That's the smart choice, of course, isn't it? In that chroma flare paint, which is just outstanding.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, there are going to be some different colours that car will be seen in as the season progresses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but all out of the aero paints division.
So that is real paint. That's not a wrap.
Correct.
As far as you're aware, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tremendous technology. It's on several other cars in the field. Not actually sure which ones I must admit, and on several cars in the Continental Tire Series as well, including, I presume, the Compass 360 team, the new Audis, which Jim Maguire, who is the main man at Aero Paints, drives in that series.
And that is one of the liveries that Andy Blackmore designs has designed for this season. I had a long chat with a couple of the Formula One teams actually over the close season, and they're going back to paint now because the paint technology has moved on.
Including aero paint.
Yeah. Because the technology has moved on so much that it's actually lighter and more aerodynamically efficient to put a thin layer of paint on the car than it is to wrap it.
Yeah, and way more durable than it used to be as well.
Well, they've even come up with technology where you can create a chrome effect with it, and it's just two very light layers of paint that are laid over each other, chemically react with each other, and it chromes it up. I mean, it's
as on the Michael Shank car,
it's absolutely spectacular.
Yeah,
Crimson Chrome.
Crimson Chrome, yes. CTSC Audis, the CJ Wilson car and CT SC as well, and Ray Hall's BMW in this category as well are all running the aero paint. Andy Blackmore, our friendly genius designer. By the way, Andy Blackmore designs and spottersguide.com for the official IMSA Spotters Guide
what
to
a career
this event.
saver that is for an IMSA.
Unbelievable, Andy. I'm sort of worked with Andy for many years now. Got me involved in the British Touring Car Championship when I was working with ITV, the national broadcaster, and he's been involved with a few projects that we have fiddled around on the edges with, but that man is stone cold genius.
Got a glimpse of another car that could be one of the potentials for the pole position, that Krone Racing Ligier, again the Ligier chassis, same as Michael Shank Racing, but with a Judd engine rather than the Honda normally aspirated Judd motor in the number 57 car.
So who's on pole? Come on guys, they're starting the first lap. Jeremy, who's on pole?
I might go for Olivier Pla.
I was gonna go with Negri and Shank until they had that little engine issue, of course, and you're not sure. So I would say then,
That's not going to slow him down. I don't think
it'll slow him down.
I don't think so either. But I think you might well see Pla. I would agree with you on that one. I think as well.
Well, I think Pla as well. So that's 3 for 3. There was just something about the way he attacked last night. Now, the only thing that might stop him is it's not as cool as it was last night, and the car might just not be to his liking, and that might stop him exploiting the full potential of the tyres and the chassis. But that's the only thing. As Oz Negri takes provisional pole with a 54.382 on his first flying lap, just displacing Richard Westbrook, who was there for a nanosecond. Ollie Pla warms up with a 54.6. Richard Westbrook. Ryan DL with a 54.4. Surely ESM can't go up there in the car that they dusted the cobwebs off. And if, you know, in fairness, if that's where you put your money before this, that's not a bad one to go for. They know how to trim this car out.
They very much do. Olivier Pla, he was quick yesterday in 2 sessions, wasn't he? The second session in the afternoon and the night practice as well. So you know, the car has been working well in all sorts of conditions here.
Yeah, it has. And I mean, they had a great lap in that session. You know, it was funny. I was thinking about that going, what a story it would be. I didn't think that they might realistically get a shot for pole. But, boy, they might just be in there with a shout. Now, of course, we saw fast times in the 51s, and we're at the 54s, so we've still got a lot of room.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of improvements from here, that's for sure, over the next particularly 2 or 3 laps. And just got a glimpse of Richard Westbrook using every absolutely available inch other than the grass and the dirt coming the exit of turn 13.
It's Joey Hand who's out in the 01 Ganassi car. Had a chat with Joey over a bite to eat. Guess where? Down at Marion's. Yes, you're absolutely right. And Joey still feeling that they need a little bit more performance out of that car, but I pointed to one word on his shirt, and that was Ganassi. And I said, so long as you've got that on your shirt, you are never out of contention. And he did have the good grace to agree with me, in point of fact.
How about this? A 1-2 right now for both Action Express cars, and then Richard Westbrook comes through and blows that out of the water.
Yeah.
But Barbosa, and our first sub-53, Osnegri, a 52-1.
Yeah.
So just 2/10 of away from the track record set last year by Sebastian Bourdais in the Action Express Racing Coyote Corvette.
What were the P1s?
Pla just broke it.
Yeah. 51.5. He didn't even broke it. He threw it up in the air and hit it with a bat.
4/10 of a second. Quicker than the lap record by Olivier Pla.
By the way, I love Fred McAvicky. You've just obliterated the lap record, Fred. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah. Number of people noticed just how nonchalant records are there to be broken.
But it was cool, though, wasn't it? How excited he was to get the pole here at Sebring. That really did mean something to him.
Certainly did. At this track, I think.
Absolutely did, particularly with how the guys further down the pit lane have been snatching them from them in the very dying moments. I think that really did mean something. 13 different pole sitters in the last 13 races.
Yeah, did Mako have a pole, well, in WC last year? Can you remember?
It's a good question.
Sorry,
I've got those.
I'll try and look at that tonight.
Yeah.
Boy, Pla just the back end of that bright green 57 swinging around. So he is certainly going after it once again, watching Negri on the hammer.
Got P2 specification cars now, 1, 2, 3. Olivier Pla in the caliber 57. That's an Ligier Judd. Number 60 car, the Ligier Honda. And the HPD 03B of Ryan DeYell in caliber 1, a 52.8. Just eclipsed there by Joao Barbosa in caliber 5. So interesting, it's Joao Barbosa who gets the opportunity to qualify that number 5 car this year rather than Sebastian Bourdais. Another quick lap also from Richard Westbrook, who goes less than a tenth faster in caliber 90.
Ollie Pla's 151.5 then. The time to beat the moment, 6.5 tenths ahead.
Here he comes. Does he improve it?
Yes!
No, 54.
No, 54.
Sorry. He backed off.
You thought that was a 51.
I did.
Yeah.
All I saw was a 104 come up. No.
He's on it now, though.
Yeah, a 54.1 is cooling the Continental tyres, and he's looked for a little bit of a gap, and now he's got that look on. He turns in so late to 4 and 5 that he's just not real. The front end on that 57 Krone racing car is responding to every tiny little movement of the steering wheel that Ollie Pla puts into it. Down towards turn 7. Wait. Now hard on the brakes. Huge amount of pressure on the middle pedal as he turns in, uses the aerodynamic downforce to stop the wheels locking, bleeds off the pressure as that car slows down. It's a real skill to feather the brakes so that you don't lock up the tyres going into the braking zone. Now into turn 10. Exactly the same thing again. Be patient. Now get on the throttle. Just slides the back of the car out a tiny little bit as he goes through 11. Oh, he's got traffic ahead of him. Looks like it might have been one of the Mazdas that was ahead of him. Hopefully that won't stop this lap. It's looking good at the moment and looks pretty smooth as he heads to one of the most awesome sights in motor racing. And the guys with the RVs on driver's right get to see these cars coming through at a huge rate of knots and changing direction almost at will as he comes through onto the back straight. Even the prototype is being leaned on so hard that it actually looks like it's leaning. That is a remarkable view from that low-down camera.
Yeah, almost lifting that inside front wheel, the right-hand front wheel, as he comes through turn 16 onto the Ullmann straightaway.
What do we reckon, gentlemen? He's got a 51.5 to his name. Is there a sub 51? Is there a 150 point something here through turn 17?
Oh, look at that car bouncing around.
It's not as bad as some we've seen, though, guys. As he comes to the line, he's keeping on it. The pressure is on from behind him. He goes through and he clocks
quicker.
51.381. It is quicker. It's not a sub 51, but it's quicker. Ollie Pla stretches his lead at the top of the timing screen to 0.659 of a second. Excellent management of the track and the traffic by Ollie Pla.
Well, without a doubt. And look at Ryan Dial keeping that number 1, the open cockpit car, up in third. A 1 minute 52.432 with Joao Barbosa at a 52.479 right behind him in fourth. So really, I think this Extreme Speed Motorsports team responding to adversity in absolutely stellar form.
Olivier Pla was on the pole here in P2, wasn't he, with the WC race back in 2012. I think that was a track record as well. So this is a place that he goes well at. Finished second in that race. But he'd be looking for another pole here, but even more so, he'd be looking for a win for Krone Racing.
I somehow have blanked that from my memory banks, that race. It was, oh. Oh, and off goes Oz Negri, and off in a very big way. Understeered off and then decided to try not to make the corner at 12. He's got away with that, guys.
Yeah, he sure did.
So
well, that was a smart decision on his part when he realized it. Straighten the wheel and just drive off, get back on. The tires are going to be sticky, which means they're going to be all dirtied up, but at least he got away with it.
Yeah, a lot of cars, you come off that corner there, lose it on the outside, and then spin across the racetrack onto the inside, which is something that Aussie has a lot more experience than that. Of course, he didn't do it and kept it under control. Of course, it'll kill this lap, but at least he's appears to have escaped unscathed.
He's been very lucky there.
Now. Is he coming into the pits now, Olivier Pla, or is he going to carry on do one more lap?
Oh, he's having way too much fun. He's winding it up. He took that odd entry to 17, tried to get on the power nice and early. I think he's going for another quick one here, Jeremy.
Yeah, I think so.
Heads down towards turn 12.
Ryan DeYell is behind him. Yeah, 51.9 there for Ryan DeYell, and that is right on the track record from 51.946, and DeYell is right behind Olivier Pla and tracking him as closely as he can.
And he's on another quick one. What he doesn't need here is to get too close to Ollie Pla, who is, I think, out of the throttle now and cruising. And Ollie Pla now has got to play the game here, going down towards turn 7. Needs to look in the mirrors. Is DL still on it as he lifted off as well? Are we going to have, in the week of St. Patrick's Day, an all-green front row for the 12 hours of Sebring? That would be entirely appropriate.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
Well, I think they've both eased off a bit now, gents, with 2 minutes to go. They might get around for one more lap if they wanted, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that Pla and DL think they may have done enough.
Well, I love the St. Paddy's Day all front row of green, but also this sort of plays into your row 5 theory, doesn't it? Because now you've got a team that the new chassis they had wasn't working, went back to an old chassis just as a stopgap, and might put it on the front row.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Just remarkable. Well, let's see.
Well, that's the line you take when you're on it right there.
Well, Pla is, if he's not on it, he's building up to it, but there's, to me, that did not look like a quick centre split. Now, we don't have the split times here to look at. We've got the two ASM cars line astern. Oz Negri just ahead of Ollie Pla.
I think Johannes van Overbeek might make a bit of a jump in this one.
They're going for another one, guys. We've got a little more excitement to go. So after a couple of relatively slow laps, Ollie Pla does a 57.1.
It's a 51.1 for Pla. That's faster still.
And we didn't think that looked quick.
No. Yeah, you were saying that. I wasn't convinced. I didn't say anything, but it was a great lap.
Interestingly, DL though did a 54.4 that time around. How? understand that because he'd caught up to Ollie Pla and he didn't seem to lose anything.
Yeah, he backed off farther around the lap, though, I think, did Ryan DL. But I think he might be on another one now. Is he or not?
Well, I tell you what, then, that 57 car, it's hard to say because the car just makes serene progress. DL is certainly on one now, brakes very, very late for turn number 7, and he is catching up with Ollie Pla, who needs to look in his mirrors now.
He does.
And he stays well. Oh, that is very, very heads-up driving. Possibly the only man who can take the pole spot away from him, and he gives him the respect that he should. Down into turn 10 now for Ryan DL, rather, as the checkered flag is out and clear track now ahead of Ryan DL. That car still looks pretty, and it still looks quick.
It's an absolutely gorgeous car. And the one thing that I noticed that Pla did that I haven't seen others do when he knew it was going to be his last lap, and apparently he'd looked at the predictive and knew it was a good one, when he came out of 17, instead of driving the normal line, he just went straight across.
Yeah.
That can save you a 10th.
Yeah, that could be a 10th right there.
You
Ryan
bet.
DL, Jeremy and I just looking at him through the S's, right to the edge of the curb, but no further, and rightly so, because there's an inch or so drop off on that curb there. That, Jeremy, is the kind of precision we've come to expect down through the years from Ryan DL.
Yes, it is. I don't think Johannes van Overbeek is on another quick lap, but let's see. Here comes Ryan DL through the final corner, right-handed up, right up against the wall.
There's a little bit of understeer there as he came through. The checkered flag is out for him. And a
51.4.
Good lap.
Wow.
Good effort. 51.4, so only 0.3 of a second between the top two cars. Great lap by Ryan DL. The Extreme Speed Motorsports guys will be thrilled with that. That was a great effort. It really does reward all the magnificent efforts that those guys have put in over the last several months.
And we do have
chassis obsolete.
Yeah, let's just leave it. Let's
wow.
throw a dust cover over it.
Is
Is it back from China yet? I can't remember. What did we do with it? We put it around here somewhere.
Pull that cover back. There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Joe Barbosa, too, on the last. That does a 52.1.
Yep.
So he nips just ahead of Ozzie Negri. Good lap by that Action Express team and Joao Barbosa.
Makes you wonder, obviously, if Negri hadn't gone off and dirtied the tires up, where he may have been in this queue. But is Barbosa still on one too? I think he said no. I'm not going to match that time.
Definitely saw the flag. Yeah, top 4 with pretty much exactly a second, 1.018 of a second, and we do have a green front row in the week of St Patrick's Day here at the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida, and Ollie Pla was the unanimous pick of the team down here in the booth, and fortunately for us,
the first pole for Krone Racing?
Oh, almost certainly.
Certainly in this series. Is it the first pole for Krone Racing?
I think it's the first pole for Krone Racing.
What a great story.
Olivier Pla looks like he has just been down to the